What if I told you that these mountains, 5,000 feet above sea level, are bearing the weight of 2,000 years of human sweat and blood? This is Banaue, a place where the vertical world becomes a canvas for the impossible. We are admiring a masterpiece of engineering built without a single machine. Is this the eighth wonder of the world, or just an ancient civilization we are about to lose forever? Before we begin, remember to subscribe to the channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss humanity's greatest mysteries. High in the northern reaches of Luzon, the mountains of the Cordilleras Central stand as a formidable barrier between the sky and the sea. Here, the air is thin and chilled by an elevation of nearly 5,000 feet, creating a climate that feels worlds away from the tropical heat of the lowlands. In this rugged terrain, the Ifugao people achieved something that defies modern architectural logic by transforming near-vertical slopes into productive agricultural land. These are the Banaue Rice Terraces, a sprawling network of tiered fields that follow the natural contours of the mountains like the fingerprints of a giant. This is not just a farm, but a massive, three-dimensional earthwork that has sustained generations through a delicate balance of nature and human will. The construction of these terraces represents one of the most significant labor-intensive projects in human history. Every single stone and every basket of earth was moved by hand, using primitive tools made of wood and forged iron. When you look at the sheer scale of the walls, some of which reach heights of over 20 feet, you realize the immense physical toll this took on the ancestors of the Igorot people. They did not have the luxury of flat land, so they manufactured it inch by inch out of the mountain's stubborn skin. This was an act of survival that evolved into a profound form of art, creating a landscape that is both functional and deeply spiritual. Water is the lifeblood of this system, and the engineering behind it is nothing short of miraculous. The terraces are fed by an ancient irrigation network that captures water from the rainforest-covered peaks high above the fields. This water is channeled through a complex series of canals and bamboo pipes, gravity feeding each individual terrace in a synchronized flow. It is a closed-loop system where the mountain's own moisture is harvested, used, and passed down to the next level, ensuring that no drop is wasted. This reflects a deep understanding of hydrology, allowing the Ifugao to maintain a constant water level across thousands of individual plots. For centuries, the story of these terraces was shrouded in a romanticized mystery regarding their true age. An American anthropologist named Otley Beyer once theorized that the terraces were over 2,000 years old, a claim that captured the world's imagination. This timeline suggested that the Ifugao had been carving the mountains since the height of the Roman Empire, placing them among the oldest continuous cultures on Earth. This narrative turned the terraces into a symbol of prehistoric genius, a prehistoric monument that predated many of the world's great cathedrals. However, modern archaeological science has recently begun to tell a different, perhaps even more fascinating story. Newer research, using radiocarbon dating of organic materials found within the terrace walls, suggests the structures may be much younger, perhaps 400 to 600 years old. This adjustment does not diminish their grandeur, but rather highlights a period of intense innovation and social organization during a time of significant regional change. It suggests that when faced with new pressures, the Ifugao rapidly accelerated their terrace building to protect their way of life and food security. Even if the stone walls are younger than previously thought, the legacy of rice cultivation in the Philippines is truly ancient. Genetic evidence and archaeological finds trace rice back at least 3,500 years, linked to the vast Austronesian migrations that populated the Pacific. The knowledge of how to grow this grain was carried across oceans and up into the clouds, evolving as it moved from the plains to the peaks. The terraces are the ultimate expression of this ancient agricultural wisdom, adapted to one of the most challenging environments on the planet. In the world of the Ifugao, rice is far more than a simple carbohydrate or a source of calories. It is the spiritual foundation of their entire existence, a sacred link between the living, the ancestors, and the deities of the mountain. Their indigenous black rice, known as kalinayan, is treated with a level of reverence that is difficult for modern urbanites to comprehend. This variety is not just a crop, but a heritage vessel that contains the stories and the resilience of those who came before. Every grain represents a victory over the steep slopes and the unpredictable mountain weather. The agricultural calendar in Banaue is governed by a strict series of rituals and social codes that have remained largely unchanged for centuries. Harvest feasts and planting ceremonies are presided over by a Mumbaki, a traditional shaman who acts as a bridge to the spirit world. These rituals ensure the favor of the gods and the protection of the crops from pests or drought. There are also days of mandatory rest, such as the period known as tungal, where all work in the fields must stop. This enforced silence allows the land to heal and ensures that the community acts as a single, cohesive unit. The culinary culture surrounding the terraces is as rich as the soil itself, revolving around the products of the harvest. Traditional rice wine, or beer, is fermented in large earthen jars and serves as a central element in every communal gathering. Rice cakes, steamed in banana leaves, provide the energy needed for the grueling physical labor of maintaining the terrace walls. Even the practice of chewing betel nut is woven into the social fabric, acting as both a mild stimulant and a ritualistic gesture of hospitality. Life here is a continuous loop of preparation, growth, and celebration, all centered on the humble grain. Technically speaking, the terraces are a masterclass in geotechnical engineering and soil mechanics. The retaining walls are built using a dry stone technique, where stones are carefully fitted together without the use of mortar or cement. This allows the wall to be flexible, shifting slightly with the movement of the earth or the expansion of water during heavy rains. If the walls were rigid, the immense hydrostatic pressure from the saturated soil would cause them to crack and burst. Instead, these walls breathe, letting excess water seep through while holding the weight of the mountain behind them. Behind these stone faces lies a sophisticated layering of earth designed to maximize drainage and stability. The foundation consists of large stones, followed by layers of smaller pebbles, sand, and finally, a thick cap of clay to prevent the water from draining away too quickly. This layered approach ensures that the ponding required for rice cultivation is maintained without causing the entire slope to become unstable. It is a delicate equilibrium where human intervention actually prevents the natural erosion that would otherwise wash these mountains away. The terraces are, in many ways, more stable than the natural slopes they replaced. The management of soil fertility is another area where the Ifugao demonstrate an advanced understanding of ecology. They use green manuring, where wild sunflowers and other organic materials are trampled into the mud to decompose and enrich the soil. This eliminates the need for modern chemical fertilizers, which would disrupt the fragile mountain ecosystem and contaminate the water supply. By working with the natural cycle of decay and regrowth, they have managed to keep these fields productive for hundreds of years. This is sustainable agriculture in its purest, most traditional form. However, this masterpiece of human ingenuity is currently showing signs of structural and cultural fatigue. Today, the terraces face a slow and quiet decline that is perhaps more dangerous than any sudden landslide. The primary threat is not nature, but the changing aspirations of the people who live there. Younger generations are increasingly looking beyond the mountains for their futures, drawn to the promise of higher education and modern jobs in the cities. The grueling physical labor required to maintain the terraces is no longer seen as a viable path for many who wish to escape the hardships of subsistence farming. As the younger Ifugao leave, the average age of those working the fields continues to rise, leaving the heavy lifting to the elderly. When a section of a retaining wall collapses, it requires immediate and skilled repair to prevent a domino effect on the terraces below. Without enough strong hands and traditional knowledge to perform these repairs, the iconic steps begin to erode and wash away. We are witnessing the gradual return of these carved mountains to their wild, unmanaged state. The silence in some of the more remote terraces is a haunting reminder that a landscape without people is a landscape in decay. The environment itself is also becoming more hostile due to the global shift in climate patterns. The year 2010 saw a devastating drought that left the terraces parched and the irrigation channels dry, exposing the vulnerability of the system. Without the cooling presence of water, the soil cracks, and the structural integrity of the terraces is compromised. Furthermore, invasive species have become a major concern, particularly the giant earthworms and golden apple snails. These creatures tunnel through the compacted clay layers, causing leaks and destabilizing the very foundation of the fields. This pressure has forced many locals to make a difficult choice between tradition and survival. In recent years, there has been a noticeable shift from growing traditional rice to cultivating commercial vegetables like cabbage and beans. These crops are easier to manage and provide a much faster return on investment in the modern market economy. However, vegetable farming does not require the same water saturation levels as rice, which changes the weight and moisture content of the soil. This shift has sparked a fierce debate among conservationists and locals about the future of the region's identity. The central question is whether a cultural landscape can truly survive if its original purpose is stripped away. If the rice disappears, the rituals associated with it will likely follow, and the terraces will become nothing more than a hollowed-out museum. Conservationists argue that the authenticity of the site depends on the continuation of rice farming, yet they rarely provide the economic solutions needed to make that farming sustainable for the locals. It is a paradox where the world wants the Ifugao to remain in the past for the sake of a photograph, while the Ifugao want to step into the future. Public perception of the terraces is often clouded by a common misconception regarding their international status. While they are globally famous, the main Banaue Rice Terraces are actually not part of the UNESCO World Heritage List. When the designation was made, UNESCO chose to highlight 5 specific clusters in the region, including Batad and Bangan, which were deemed to be better preserved. Banaue itself was excluded partly due to the presence of modern structures that were felt to detract from its historical purity. Nevertheless, it remains a national cultural treasure of the Philippines, protected under a presidential decree from 1973. The role of tourism in Banaue is a double-edged sword that provides both a lifeline and a threat. On one hand, the money brought in by visitors is essential for the local economy and can provide funds for the restoration of collapsed terrace walls. It creates jobs for guides, weavers, and lodge owners, keeping some of the youth in the region who might otherwise have left. Visitors have the unique opportunity to witness the Mumbaki rituals and learn about the profound connection between the Ifugao and their land. This global interest validates the importance of the culture and provides a sense of pride for the community. On the other hand, the tourism industry itself accelerates the cultural shift that threatens the terrace's survival. It is often easier and more lucrative for a young Ifugao person to act as a tour guide for a day than to spend a month working in the mud of a rice field. This creates a situation where the very thing people come to see, the active farming of the terraces, is being undermined by the industry that celebrates it. The spectacle of the terraces is slowly replacing the reality of the terraces. We risk turning a living civilization into a theme park where the actors are tired of their roles. To truly understand the scale of this agricultural world, one must look beyond the town of Banaue to the wider Ifugao province. The Banaue Rice Terraces, for instance, are famous for their unique shape, resembling a massive natural amphitheater carved into the side of a valley. Here, the stone walls are even steeper, and the sense of isolation is more profound, offering a glimpse into what the entire region might have looked like centuries ago. In Mayo, the terraces are known for producing Tinawan rice, a rare variety that is harvested only once a year and is prized for its fragrance and texture. The Banaue Rice Terraces offer a different aesthetic, with walls made of river stones that give the landscape a more rugged, ancient appearance. This area is also famous for its traditional post-harvest rituals, where the entire community participates in a ritual stone-pulling ceremony in the river. Further away in Kaingan, the terraces are deeply tied to the history of the Ifugao's resistance against colonial forces. Each of these sites adds a unique layer to the story of the Cordilleras, proving that the terraces are not a singular monument, but a vast, interconnected cultural system. The survival of the Banaue Rice Terraces is a test of our collective ability to value something that does not fit into the modern metrics of efficiency and profit. These fields are a testament to the fact that humans can exist in harmony with the mountains, enhancing the environment rather than destroying it. But this harmony is fragile, held together by the calloused hands of a shrinking number of farmers. If we lose the knowledge of how to maintain these walls, and if the spiritual connection to the rice is severed, we lose a vital part of our human story. The terraces are a reminder that civilization is not just about moving forward, but about remembering what to carry with us. As we look at these emerald stairs, we are forced to confront a difficult truth about our own world. We live in an era of rapid change, where the old is often discarded in favor of the new and the convenient. The Ifugao show us that greatness is built through persistence, and that the most beautiful things are often those that require the most effort to sustain. If we allow these mountains to return to silence, we are essentially saying that the wisdom of the past has no place in our future. We must find a way to support the people who live here so they can thrive without having to abandon their heritage. How do we balance the need for modern progress with the preservation of ancient identity? Can a culture truly survive if it becomes a tourist attraction for others to consume? These are the questions that the mist-covered peaks of Ifugao ask every traveler who wanders into their midst. The answers will determine whether the next generation will see these mountains as a living masterpiece or as a series of overgrown ruins. We must decide what kind of legacy we want to leave behind for those who will climb the mountains after us. The story of the Banaue Rice Terraces is far from over, but its final chapters are being written right now. It is a story of resilience, engineering genius, and the relentless pressure of the modern world. If you found this journey through the clouds thought-provoking, please subscribe to the channel and share this story with others who value the wonders of our world.